Hello, and welcome to GlassEye 2000, the premier software for stained glass design. GlassEye 2000 is a program that helps artists create stained glass patterns, just like these, on their computers. This short video will show you what it looks like to design a stained glass window using GlassEye 2000. In this demonstration, I won't explain each step in detail. I just want to give you a sense of what GlassEye 2000 can do. If you wish to interrupt the video, press the Escape key at any time. The design I'll draw for you will be similar to this beautiful pattern by Christy Wood, entitled French Sun. Notice that there is a lot of symmetry. A single design element appears 4 times. I'll draw this pattern by designing the one element, then I'll make reflections of that element to complete the design. Let's get started. To get my pie-shaped piece, I'll draw a circle and some lines, then trim away the parts I don't need. A circle drawn with GlassEye 2000 is composed of 4 arcs. In between those arcs are points called knots. I'd like to have more knots along the circle to use as reference points, and I can add them using the subdivide command. By subdividing each arc into 4, I'll end up with a total of 16 evenly spaced knots along the perimeter of the circle. Using these knots as reference points, I'll draw 2 lines across the circle. I'll then add another knot where those lines intersect. I've now drawn a pie-shaped section, but I need to remove the lines that I don't want. Finally, I'll zoom in on the design for easier editing. Now that I have the border I want, I can draw the interior of this section. I'll start by drawing a line down the middle of the design. Next, I want to add knots as reference points along each of the straight lines. So I'll use the subdivide command again. I'll divide each line into 10 segments. Now I'll draw 4 arcs across the design. Notice how having the knots evenly spaced along the lines keeps my alignments perfect. I'll now draw a couple of freehand curves in the center of my design. After I draw a curve, I'm able to adjust its shape. Because it's so easy to do this, I'm able to get exactly the shape I want. Next, I'll draw 2 straight lines. I'll now add a few more knots at line intersection points. There are a few line segments that I don't want, so I'll select them and delete them. I don't need to see the knots anymore, so I'll make them invisible. I'm now ready to duplicate this section to form my semicircle. First, I'll give myself some working room by moving my design into the bottom left corner. Next, I specify the reflection by turning on the diagonal crosshairs and then moving them into position. I reflect, and that gives me a 1/4 circle. Next, I switch to horizontal and vertical crosshairs, reflect again, and my semicircle is complete. Now I'll turn off the crosshairs, then zoom in on the design. There's a line in the center that I no longer want, so I'll delete it now. So far, I haven't said anything about the actual size of this design. One of the nice features of GlassEye 2000 is that you can dimension your design at any time. By turning on the rulers, I can see that my design is nearly 18 inches wide. I'd like it to be 46 inches wide instead, and that's very easy to do. Just select the Dimension All command, then enter in the new size. Notice that when I enter in the width, a proportional height can be calculated automatically. Click OK, and the design is resized. I'll now turn off my rulers and center my design. At the new size, my lines seem too thin, so I'll choose a different width. I select all lines, then look at their properties. I'll change them from 3/32 to 3/16. Now comes the fun part, choosing colors for my design. The row of buttons on the left is my color palette. Each button represents a color. I can change the color of a button by double-clicking it. This brings up the GlassEye 2000 color selector. The color selector has two parts, one for selecting textured colors and another for selecting glass. Let's first choose a textured color. This is done by choosing both the hue and the brightness of the color. I'll choose a red of medium brightness. I can see my choice in the bottom left corner. Right now I have a solid color, but I can apply a texture to it. GlassEye 2000 comes with 15 textures, and you can even use textures of your own. I'll choose a texture of antique to see how I like it. Now my color patch has the antique texture applied to it. I like this texture, so I'll click OK to use it. The color is now on my color button, and when I click on a piece in my design, the piece takes on that color. If I change my mind about that color, I can double-click the color button again, then make another selection. I'll keep the red, but try a texture of granite ripple this time. I'll now pick a color for another button. This time I'd like a nice golden color, and I'd like to choose it from my library of glass samples. I start by indicating the basic color I want as I did before. Now I'd like to see which glass samples in my library best match that color. All I do is click the Glass tab and see exactly that. Here, in order, are the glass samples from the library that best match the color. If I scroll down, I can see more samples. By clicking on a sample, I can read more about that sample in the right-hand side, such as the manufacturer, part number, category, and description. I think this spectrum glass looks like what I need, so I'll choose that. Now I'll click on the pieces that I want to have that color. Notice that I can have any combination of textured colors and glass samples within the same design. I'll use the colors I already have on my palette to color in the remaining pieces. Coloring is easy. I just click on a color button, then click on the pieces in my design. Our glass library contains over 1,700 glass samples from 7 manufacturers. Each sample is sized and annotated according to the manufacturer's specifications, and the samples can even be rotated. I'll now use the piece labeling feature to place a unique number onto each piece. You can see that I have a variety of options here, but in this demo I'll just use simple numbering. It's that easy to give each piece a number. These numbers can be made to appear on my printed output exactly as they appear on the screen. I don't need to see the numbers right now, so I'll turn them off. GlassEye 2000 allows me to calculate cost and materials using the Properties feature. The Properties window has 3 pages, called General, Glass Usage, and Construction Cost. We'll look at 2 of these pages now, starting with the Glass Usage page. On this page, I can see the colors used in my design, 6 at a time. For each glass, I can see how many pieces of that color there are, the amount used, a unit cost for that sample, and the total cost. The construction cost page puts all my costs together. The first row shows the cost of glass that I just computed. The second row shows my lead or foil usage. And the third row shows a labor cost based on the number of pieces. I get a subtotal of around $229 for my window, which is my cost estimate. I supply a reasonable profit value to compute a total of around $310. the amount I might charge for producing this work. When I'm ready to print, I have a number of options. I can print my design to a single sheet of paper, or at its actual size. If the actual size of the design doesn't fit on a single sheet, it will print to several sheets that you can then assemble into a full-size drawing. There are many other options, including page orientation and margin settings. This concludes our demonstration. Thank you for watching. GlassEye 2000 is produced by Dragonfly Software on the web at www.dfly.com. Please visit us to learn more about this product, including features and pricing. You can even download our trial version so that you can try out GlassEye 2000 for yourself. Even if you don't purchase the product, you're welcome to use our pattern library and pattern resizer free of charge for as long as you wish. This video will now repeat. To interrupt the video at any time, press the Escape key. You can also right-click on the video for more options.